Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Antaryascha Bahirvidhutatimiram Jyotirmayam Shashvatam Sthanam Prapya Virajate Vinamatam Ajnanamunmulayan Pashyan Vishvamapidamullasatiyo Vishvasya Pare Paraha Tasmai Shri Ramanaya Loka Gurave Shokasya Hantre Namaha. Chant from verse 1 to 10. Karturajnaya prapyate phalam karma kim param karma tajjadam kriti mahodadau patana karanam phalam shashvatam gati nirodhakam ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam kaya vangmana karyamuttamam pujanam japaschintanam kramat jagata ishadhi yukta sevanam ashtamurti bhreteva pujanam uttamastavat uchchamandatah chittajam japa dhyanamuttamam ajyadharaya srotasasamam saralachintanam viralataf param bhedabhavana sohamityasau bhavanabhida pavani mata bhavashunyasa bhavasustitihi bhavana bhalad bhaktiruttama hritstale mana swasthata kriya bhakti yoga bodhascha nishchitam. Okay, so last time we saw verse number 10, right? Verse number 10 was all about the goal of all paths. What is the goal of all paths? Abidance of the mind in the heart. Hritsthale, in the heart. Swasthatha, abidance. Abidance in the heart of what? The mind. So any spiritual practice is only trying to do this. It's trying to bring our mind to a place of rest in the heart. Whether it is karma yoga, and in karma yoga we rest in the action itself. In the action, because of just focusing on the action, losing ourselves in the action, there is rest. In bhakti yoga there is rest. Why? Because we're resting in the name of Bhagavan. So there's ultimate surrender. Bhagavan will take care of me. Bhagavan will be there, like the story we saw for the children of Yamanatan and Bhanabhadra. In Ashtanga yoga there is rest. When we quieten the mind, when we discipline the mind, there's rest. Don't have too many distractions or worries. And in Jnana Yoga, the mind is always at rest in the self. Meaning, as Atman, we are always at rest, whether the mind is at rest or not. That's the beauty of Jnana Yoga. It's permanent rest because one is always in rest, at rest, as the self. It doesn't matter what the mind is doing. So the goal of all paths is rest, is relaxation. And that is also an important spiritual practice. An important spiritual practice is to slow down, to breathe, to rest, to relax, to be silent, to close our eyes, and to just be. That's a very important spiritual practice because all beautiful things come from rest, not from noise. If you see, all noise just creates more and more chaos. But when a person is at rest and then they come out from that rest, all beauty emerges. The most meditative music, most meditative art comes from a place of rest and not restlessness. So now, having said that, here Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji now is going to start Ashtanga Yoga. So last time we saw Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and we also started Ashtanga Yoga. We started 2 of the practices in Ashtanga Yoga. So if you look at your book, now we are on, in my book it's page 35, so it must be around that page for you, where Ashtanga Yoga, the yoga of 8 limbs, is going to be expounded upon. And this path is uniting to the higher through the path of meditation. And why it's called Ashtanga Yoga? Ashtanga, because it has 8 limbs. And the 8 limbs are listed there. And we were on the first limb known as Yama. So when we say Ashtanga Yoga, don't only think of postures in a yoga class. It starts from pure living. It starts from Yama. And why Yama? Why these practices are grouped together? Because they help us to overcome prohibited actions. They pull us out of prohibited actions. That's why it's called Yama. It's pulling us out of prohibited actions. So there are 5 Yamas: Ahimsa, non-violence; Satya, truthfulness; Asteya, non-stealing; Brahmacharya, continence or moderation; and Aparigraha, non-hoarding. Last time we saw Ahimsa, non-violence. Anybody remember what we saw about non-violence? So, creating the least amount of violence. Because in our lives, it is impossible to be completely non-violent. There's nobody who is completely non-violent. Non-violence is shown in 3 levels: the body, the speech, and the mind. At the body level, it's hard to be completely non-violent because even if we're only eating fruits and vegetables, we're still plucking them. There's still a little bit violence, right? In our speech, sometimes we have to use firmer tones, not because we want to hurt anybody, not like that, but sometimes we have to bring people back to discipline. So it might come out as violent, the intention is pure, but it's necessary. So in the Bhagavad Gita, when Sri Krishna told Arjuna to fight, that violence was necessary because there was too much adharma being created by the Kauravas. There's too much adharma, and they tried to prevent all things. They tried to prevent fighting. They tried to prevent battle. They tried to do whatever they could. And when that didn't work, they had to fight. So non-violence means creating the least amount of violence possible. So that everybody is safe and secure. If it has to come to a point of violence, that's only to protect dharma and not of anything else. So non-violence we saw. And we also saw satyam or truthfulness, which is being true to our word. We saw that our words should have some weight, not weightless. We are in a culture that talks a lot. So oftentimes when we talk, we say, yes, I'll come, yes, I'll do, yes, I'll be there. But they don't mean anything. Words don't mean anything. We don't really follow through. So what happens is nothing great comes out of that person. And nobody believes that person because the words don't have weight. There's no weight. And so that's now we have to evite, RSVP, follow up, so many things. Again, reminder, 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 because words don't have weight. But before, words had so much weight. They didn't have any contracts. They didn't have any reminder. If somebody said, I will show up, it means that's it. You can trust that. Imagine what kind of a world that was like. If somebody said, I'll do this, that's it. No Monday.com. It's done. You know for a fact it's done. So Satya is truthfulness. And in the Yoga Sutras, very interestingly, they also give us the results of these practices. So for somebody who is very non-violent, creates the least amount of violence, the people around them will be also very friendly, very harmonious, because they're not violent. And for the one who practices truthfulness, they become Satya Sankalpa. Whatever they say, it happens. And this is how our great rishis had the power, that whatever they said, it happened. They had the power to bless or curse because they lived a life of Satya. So words are very, very powerful, especially for those people who live what they say. They're very powerful. So when you're near a great Mahatma, be good to them because their words have power. Then Asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. Now, what are the things? Have we stolen in our lives? Anybody has stolen? We have all stolen, I'm sure. Right? In the hotel room, there's extra toiletry packs. Somebody has stolen something like that. We have stolen that. Right? All the time. Yeah? Right? And if we live in New York City, what is something we always steal? Cabs. Right? We steal cabs. Somebody's hailing that cab and then you go inside. That is a New Yorker. Right? We steal a spot in line. Nobody's looking. Let me get into that spot. Everyone here has stolen, including me. I have also done that. And then parking spots. Somebody's about to park and you have just enough space to go in, you go in. Right? Right? It is a dog-eat-dog world, they say, huh? But in a subtler sense, what are the things that we steal? What is something that we steal in a subtler sense? We steal attention. Yeah? So let us say if it's somebody's gathering or it's somebody's party and they should be the star of the show. Then we come with some, loud gang of people and distract all the attention from that person and it all comes to us. Sometimes we unnecessarily steal attention. We're so loud that we steal attention when it's not meant to be on us. We steal the spotlight. Sometimes when conversing with others, somebody's bringing up such a valuable point. What do? We interrupt unnecessarily. We steal attention unnecessarily. If it's important, of course, yeah, but unnecessarily we steal. We steal attention. What else do we steal? Somebody? Hope, yeah. We take away someone's hope. Yeah.
Daughter plans to watch like some iPad and then when she comes home, we steal the iPad. So.
Yes, daughter plans to watch something in the iPad and you steal it. That's good. That's a good steal. That's a good steal. Yeah. something also that we steal is credit. Yeah? When somebody has done something and then someone compliments us, somebody else has done and somebody compliments us and says, and we say, yes, thank you, I know, it was so good. But we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. We steal that credit. That's not ours. That's not ours. And we take it. What else we steal? We steal people's time. Unnecessarily, we disturb them with something so low, so mundane. They could be doing such great work and we bother them with such small things, isn't it? Right?
My wife all the time.
Our friends, right? Each other. You all do it to each other, I think. Husband and wife do it to each other, right? But we steal people's time. So, this is how we steal. Aparigraha. We take what's not ours. In the spiritual path, remember, it's trying to get rid of our body, our mind, our intellect, trying to disidentify from it. On top of this, instead of doing this, we're identifying with more bodies, more minds, more things, and taking ownership. In Ishavasya Upanishad, Adi Shankaracharya ji says, actually nothing is ours. Nothing is ours. Right? So this stealing is trying to unnecessarily identify with other things and taking it as ours. It's adding more layers of identification than we need. So therefore, non-stealing. And what is the result of somebody who doesn't steal anything? What is the power that comes to them? All wealth comes in the doorstep. Because they're so honest, they don't steal. So everything comes to them. Great Mahatmas, they don't steal anything, they don't take anything. Everybody wants to give so many things to them. They say, we don't want, they don't want anything, but everybody wants to give to them because they don't steal. So, asteya. Then we come to brahmacharya. What is brahmacharya? Brahmacharya means two things: selection and sense control. Selection and sense control. See, brahmacharya means literally walking in Brahman, walking in Bhagavan, walking in God. That I am charya, charati means to walk. Where are we walking? Brahmani, in Brahman. So we're walking in God. So if we are walking on the path to God realization, then we must be selective over what we do with our senses and mind. You know, we make it easy for people to steal our senses like this. We're on the internet and then something comes up on our feed. Go, go, go. We make it so easy for people to steal our attention. Nothing is free in this world. Even searching Google is not free. All of our data is being sold somewhere, and that's why we get the ads that we get and we get the things that we get. So in brahmacharya, I value these gifts that Bhagavan has given me. I value the gift of sight, of hearing, of taste, of smell, of touch. I value these gifts. So I'm selective where to engage. I'm not, just because things are free, I don't just engage helplessly in everything. Being selective as to what I see. What am I hearing? Because these are gifts from God. These are gifts from Bhagavan. What am I hearing? What am I tasting? What am I eating? Where am I going? What am I exposing my mind to? Am I walking in God? Selection is one aspect of brahmacharya. Another aspect of brahmacharya is sense control. Now that I have selected what to engage in, may I do that in moderation. Because too much of a good thing is bad also. Bhagavad Gita says, yuktahara vihara. So even if we're eating healthy food, too much of it is going to be bad. It's going to make us sick. Even if we're watching something so nice and so beautiful and calming, too much of that might just, make us prevent us from doing whatever else we have to do. So may I be selective in my sense engagement and my mind engagement, and I also have control and moderation. And when this happens, when someone practices brahmacharya, what is the power, the result that they get? They get what we call virya, the strength to accomplish. When Swami Vivekananda ji was asked, how is it that, at such a young age, in only, I think it was only 8 years that he was Swami Vivekananda ji, he was able to accomplish so much. And he said the secret is brahmacharya, being able to just control his senses. That was the secret. So if we see how are people able to accomplish so many things in life, what is their strength? What is their virya? It's brahmacharya. They're very selective about what they engage in, and they do it in moderation. So this is fourth one. Fifth one is called aparigraha. Aparigraha means non-hoarding. What are the things that we hoard? What are some things that we keep hoarding? Clothes. What else? Jewelry, clothes. Think of a more subtle thing. Memories, grudges. All of these things we keep, we hoard in our mind. So physical things, we hoard clothes, we hoard shoes, we hoard books also. We hoard relationships. We gather so many friends, so for what? And then in our minds, we gather so many memories. And sometimes we also keep albums and albums. And what are you going to do with all the photos that are stored in the phone? Is anybody going to look at 2,000, 3,000 photos? It hoards so much space. Why does it say non-hoarding? For the simple reason, more things take more time and attention, take more thoughts. The more things we have, the more things we gather, the more things we have in our homes, in our heads, the more attention we need to put on these things. Because we have to preserve them. Once you buy something, once we get something, we have to preserve. And if we have to preserve, then what happens? So much time, attention is going on, thought is going on, I have to preserve this. I got this title, I got this honor, I have to keep it. I got these many relationships, I have to sustain them. I have this much money, I have to figure out where to put it. So all of this takes space, physical space, mental space. That's the most important thing. And when it takes so much space, where is the time and attention available for spiritual pursuit? It's not there. It's absolutely not there. And that's why for spiritual life, what's prescribed is simple living, high thinking. Nobody said we shouldn't have. We should have whatever is necessary for us to grow and evolve. We should have. But we shouldn't have too much, where all of our focus is on all of those things instead of our higher nature, our higher self. Again, remember this path is of tyaga. It's of renunciation. Renunciation what? Doesn't mean you have to take sannyas. Renunciation means renouncing the identification with the body, with the mind, with the intellect. Renouncing these identifications. If we can't even renounce our clothes, then we have a long way to go. Something that it takes so much for us to renounce, that's a problem. Because at the end of the day, we have to renounce this very ego. So therefore, a parigraha is a practice to help us eventually renounce that ego. Yeah? So these are the 5 yamas. This is the basis of Ashtanga Yoga, right? This is basis. Now we go to the second level. The second level, or the second step, is called Niyama. Why is Niyama different from Yama? Yama is that which makes us, it prevents us from doing prohibited actions. Niyama now moves us from desire-prompted actions to selfless actions. It now moves us and helps us to evolve further. It's the next step up. So the first thing prescribed in Niyama is Shaucha, inner purity and outer cleanliness. So what do you think? First we'll start at the base level, outer cleanliness. So I'm sure we all know what that is, keeping our bodies clean, keeping our homes clean, our surroundings clean. But why is cleanliness so important? Why is it so important in Sanatana Dharma, in our culture?
Gives you clarity of thought, clean mind.
Yeah, it gives us more clarity of thought. Anything else?
Your body is healthy, you're not sick, so you can focus. I guess, if it's unclean, you can get sick, and then you don't have the capacity to sort of mentally focus towards spirituality or anything.
Yeah, correct. So few things like what you all said. One is that our physical space impacts our mental space, and our mental space also impacts our physical space. And we saw this also before when, just you can feel the difference in energy, right? If we walk into a cluttered place, how do we feel? Like already you feel that there's a blockage. But when we walk into a free space, how do we feel? It's quite calm and relaxed. This was so much so restaurants spend so much money in the ambiance of the restaurant, right? This is the way it has to look. This is the seating. There's a whole field for that. So the physical space has a direct impact on the mental space. Second is like what you said, is that if the body is dirty, if this is dirty, then this can get sick. If we don't take care of our bodies, keep it clean, it can get sick. And if it gets sick, we just focus on our bodies, forget our spiritual pursuit. We're not going to focus on it anymore. So cleanliness, hygiene. Also, because it helps us to think and it saves time. When things are in a mess at home, we can never find anything. Then what happens? 1 hour goes, where is that yellow sock? Finding, where? Half an hour, 45 minutes, and the whole house is going crazy trying to find that sock, or that book, or that scarf. Everybody goes crazy. The simple thing is put it where it belongs. We don't follow this rule. Or in our computers, everything is filed. There's a file system. What happens when we don't file and everything's all over the place? It takes us hours just to find what we need to work on. So we waste so much time. When there is dirt, we waste a lot of time, and it impacts our mental space. What is mental cleanliness? Mental purity. Mental purity is the ability now to drop the dirt of the past and the dirt of the future, because it's clogging the mind. That's dirt. When we keep in the mind all the past grudges, past regrets, past guilt, past that, we keep that, that's dirt. The mind is not effective. It cannot function. It can't be present. It can't be clean and clear. And when there's dirt of the future is also dirt. The dirt of the future is what's going to happen, will this be, will that be, so much dirt. Thinking about the past and the future can can create so much dirt and so much blockage that we're unavailable to embrace the present. And also nobody's able to make an impression to us in the present. Just think of a whiteboard in a classroom, because we have classrooms here. In that board, where so many things are already written, will you be able to find place to write something easily? If it's already full with so many notes and so many things, will you find some place to write something? No. But when you erase that board and then you write something, you can clearly see it. It shines through. It's so real, isn't it? So when our mind is cluttered with all of that stuff, there's clutter in the mind, people can't write anything in that mind. Whatever we read doesn't register in that mind. We're wondering why we can't remember, why we have poor memory, because it's cluttered. So spring cleaning is coming up. Spring cleaning means clean the outside, but clean this also. Shaucha. And the one who practices this virtue inherits a very, very pure mind, very pure, calm, serene mind, because they have no baggage. When you travel, imagine what it's like to be baggage free. Wouldn't everybody love that? Yeah? So this is Shaucha. Next is Santosha. Santosha means contentment. So what is contentment? What do you think is contentment?
To be satisfied.
To be satisfied? So does being satisfied mean that we shouldn't strive for anything? What does it mean then? What does it mean to be content? Yeah.
You put your best foot forward, and whatever is the outcome, you're happy with.
Yeah, correct. Right? So contentment, this is with respect to whatever we receive. Just accept. You get what you get, but you don't get upset. Right? Very simple. All these things, there's a book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Right? All these things are those phrases, those lessons. Whatever we get is okay. Be content with that. Be content that this is what's given, it's prasad, and accept. Content people are the happiest people in the world. Happiest people in the world. Why this virtue is so important is because it brings about a pleasing mind. And in the spiritual path, that's what we need. We don't need a disturbed mind, always agitated mind. We need a mind which is always at peace. Please, this came, okay. That came, okay.
That didn't come.
And that didn't come, okay. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. And having faith that whatever happens is meant to be. It is for our own spiritual growth. It is what it is. And we might not have the ability to see that it is for our spiritual growth, but just have faith in it and be okay. And the easiest way to cultivate this virtue of contentment is gratitude. If there are some days where we feel discontent, this is going wrong, that's going wrong, everything's going wrong, stop. Just sit and think of how much we have been given. How much already we have been given. We are discontent because we forget what we already have. If every day we reflect about what we have, we will never be discontent. We have we have two eyes. We have a nose, we have a mouth, we have a mind, we have a body, we have so many wonderful things. So santosha is essential in the spiritual life because it keeps our mind pleasing. So shaucha, cleanliness, is to take out all the trash, take out all the clutter. And santosha is to, now that it's clear, keep it cool and pleasant. Then we come to tapaha, or austerity. I'm sure we've heard this term before, but tapaha or austerity means single-pointed focus. This is also a must on the spiritual path. And that brahmacharya translates to tapaha or austerity. So the more that I have sense control, the more that I am selective on what I do, the more focused we can be. And practices of tapas or austerity are like puja, japa, dhyana, thinking, or any spiritual practice wherein my mind is completely focused. It's not doing this or doing that. It's completely focused. That is called tapasya. It's called tapasya. And there are many different levels of this. For some people, waking up early is a austerity. It's a great austerity. Because focus, then that's what I'm going to do. No matter what, I'm going to do it and done. For many people, staying fit is an austerity. And that's very good. That no matter what happens, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to get this done. Very good. For some people, it's meditation is an austerity. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to chant for these many minutes every day. But we have to be engaged in some austerity or the other. We have 3 instruments: body, mind, intellect. So all of us as seekers must have an austerity at each level, which we practice without compromise. Without compromise. So at the body level, we have to think, what is the austerity that I'm going to practice at my body level to stay fit? I have to take up one tapasya at the body level. At the mental level, what is an austerity that I can take up to stay fit? It can be chanting, it can be singing, it can be puja, it can be, just meditating. Some austerity. At the intellectual level, take up the austerity of reading, of studying, of inquiry, something that we do again and again and again. And when we do this, when we build single-pointed focus, then the power to accomplish becomes great. So with brahmacharya, they get strength. With tapasya, everything becomes accomplished. Everything becomes accomplished because there's that focus. And many people say that, we need more time throughout the day. But what is the answer to that? We don't need more time, we need more focus. Because imagine what we can do in focused time versus unfocused time. We have 24 hours, but if those 24 hours were focused 24 hours, that'd be more than enough time. So, tapas. Next one is swadhyaya, or study of scriptures. So swadhyaya can mean 2 things actually in the Yoga Shastra. It can mean study of scriptures, and it can also mean chanting a mantra. So why is this important? See, if when we engage in the world, we only learn what is limited to the world. So we engage with news, we engage with, conversations with other people. We engage in learning this, we engage in learning that, but it's limited to what's going on in the world. There's a whole spiritual realm that's above and beyond the world, which we know nothing about. So when we study, when we read, when we go through that, we learn how to think higher. When we're limited to the world, to the people we meet, we think this is the only response. This is the only way to do things. This is only how it should be done. We have all of these limitations. When we start looking at scriptures, we think, wow, this is how we can respond. This is what it means. This is the level we can reach. We must have an altar, a person, a being, a scripture higher than ourselves, so that we constantly lift ourselves to that level. If we don't have scriptures, we don't have the lives of our great saints and sages, then how do we know how high we can go, how high we can be? So that swadhyaya, it makes us think higher, and it also gets rid of complacency on the spiritual path. Because very often, sometimes we can think, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. You know, I'm doing my work. I'm with my family. I'm here once a week. I'm okay. No, we're not okay. We can all be better. And we can only be better when we study people who are better than us. So Swadhyaya ensures that we are always connected to principles, people better, greater, higher than us, so that we can be lifted. Otherwise, we're going to just remain complacent. And spirituality is not complacency. Spirituality is evolution, constant evolution. The final one here is called Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means surrender to God. So for Swadhyaya, the result of that is that we are now in higher levels of thinking. Our levels of thinking and being are elevated. Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender to God, means that whatever it is that's disturbing me, whatever it is that's bothering me, I offer that as surrender. I offer that as surrender. Surrender is a very, very powerful word. And it has different levels. Okay? So the first level is whatever is bothering me, whatever is troubling me, whatever is on my mind, whatever is my worry, whatever is weighing on me, surrender that. Surrender that. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna says a very powerful shloka. It says, Ananyaschintayanto mam ye janaf paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. It means that the ones who surrender to me completely, who think about me completely and let go completely, I take care of whatever they need and I secure whatever they have. I take care, I provide whatever they need, and I secure whatever they have. There's a story of Swami Tapovan Maharaj Ji. Just so that we can see the extent of how Mahatmas surrender, you know. He was going on a yatra to Kailash. He was on a yatra to Kailash. And he was barefoot in some places. And he didn't, you know, when we go to Kailash, we have a backpack with so many kinds of clothes and gear. He didn't travel like that. He didn't even travel with food. Whoever's with him, they bring some food and he gets fed. So he's wearing one kurta. He's barefoot. He's climbing. It's icy. It's snow. It's icy. And he's tired. He's beaten down. And he's been walking to Kailash. When we went to Kailash, we took, you know, cars and we had rest stops and everything. He walked all the way, like literally all the way. And it started raining. And he's already freezing, shivering. Then hail starts to pour down. Already. And too much is coming. His body's becoming incredibly weak. He doesn't know what to do. He feels like he can't stand anymore. And he finds this big rock and he just lays on the rock. He says, enough. And what's in his mind, right? If we were there, what would be on our mind is, what's going to happen? You know, am I going to die? This and that, I need help. On his mind is just one thing. I wonder how God will take care of me. Let's see. That's all. No fear, no worry, nothing. What's in his mind? Curiosity. Not even faith. I know, it's a fact. I know God will take care of me. I wonder how. Let me lay here because I have no more will to move. And he lay there. It's hailing. It's wet. It's cold. He's shivering. And after some time, some Mahatmas came. They carried him and they took him to the shade for shelter. And there he was able to rest. See this. Complete surrender. Even at the moment of death. And we can't surrender what is going to happen to my child. We can't surrender that. So Ishwar Pranidhan means live life of surrender. Complete surrender. That whatever we do, there's only a point. There's only a point where we can reach. After that, it's okay. We can't do anything. We can't do anything. And trust that there is Lord looking after us. And one of the lessons I had told you, when we worry, what is it? It's an insult to God. God has been taking care of us for so long since our birth, as the previous births. And then we start worrying. It's like an insult that, hey, I'm not going to take care of you or what? Will a child ever worry when they go to their parents' house that I won't be fed, that I won't have a room to stay in, that I won't be okay? You are in God's house. How dare you worry? It's an insult. He's our parent. So just surrender. Just surrender. And that surrender, why it's so important in Yoga Shastra is the result of surrender is samadhi. Actually, why people can't let go, can't quieten their mind is because they cannot let go. To the one who has absolute surrender, only that person can reach that state of samadhi, pure meditation, uninterrupted meditation. Only that person can reach it. So this is Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana. With this, the yamas and niyamas are covered. 5 basic practices on how we can live. Now I'll stop here. Next ones we will take up next time. I'll stop here to see if anybody has any questions or any thoughts they want to share on these practices. Because this is quite heavy. And then of course I will give you a sadhana to practice. So anybody has any questions or any thoughts? Yes.
When you say surrender, that means you need to have so much faith, so much trust that I know he's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Somehow I can't wrap my head around that.
I know.
It's like
it's
I
like,
I mean, like honestly, like that's something like I don't think so I'll ever get samadhi. I don't think.
yeah. We are such control freaks, you know. We are such control freaks.
I mean, how I mean, I believe like we have to do the best, but like still like I mean surrender is very hard for me.
You see, I'll tell you now. We do it in stages, okay? And I'll explain to you the stages. Stage 1 of surrender, surrender the results of actions. This is doable? Yes? Doable. Surrender the results of actions.
Yeah.
Whatever will come, surrender. Doable, right? Moving on to the next stage. What is the next stage? Surrendering our likes and dislikes. Doable. Sometimes I won't get what I want. Sometimes I get, sometimes I won't get. Yes? Doable? Yes? Moving up. surrendering the action itself. Sometimes a specific role will get taken away from us. Being a parent in that capacity might be taken away from us. Being in a job or position in that role might be taken away from us. Being a friend in that capacity will be taken away from us. Okay to surrender? Surrender the action, the role? Doable?
No.
I mean, we'll try to go back to that role. Like, I mean, if maybe that role is taken away, but then you will want to.
Then something will come. Something will come.
Yeah, but like, so you're not happy with what happened. You're not surrender to it. Like you're like, okay, it did happen. It's not fair. I'm going to fight and get back something else like that. Like it's not really like.
And remember when I said, right? So first we start from results of actions, likes and dislikes, and the action itself. And even if we don't have or want to surrender, what did I say last time? There's no option. Surrendering is not an option. It's not an option. It's going to get taken away. Huh? So if we surrender in the beginning, we'll have a lot of peace. If we surrender in the middle, distress. If we surrender in the end, forget about it. Lots and lots of trouble. So get ready to surrender. Get ready. Life is all about surrender, surrender, surrender. Huh?
It's common amongst a lot of religions. Like even like Christianity tells you to surrender, and then even like the Islam religion tells you the same thing about the surrender of consciousness.
Same thing. Surrender is the name of the game. Huh? So now see these three levels. I'll come to your question. See these three levels. Result of actions, likes and dislikes, action itself. Higher than that is to surrender the ego. So we make our way. We make our way to surrender. It is possible, but we have to do it in steps, in stages. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the other kind of message here is when you say surrender, like eventually everyone has to surrender because you die.
Yeah.
So you can surrender now and enjoy your life,
Yeah.
or you can surrender in the last second and enjoy nothing.
Correct. Exactly. It's true.
I mean, no, but that's kind of like understand the message to be.
No, it's true. At the end of the day, what you cannot, we have to accept that actually we cannot control everything. We can only control our action, and that also to some extent. Huh? The rest of life is just surrender. Yeah?
And your point, I mean, I think listening for the last few months here is like you become wise by surrendering because you're not held down by all these man-made, woman-made things.
Yeah.
You have more clarity.
You have more clarity and more peace.
Right.
More peace. Yeah?
So, and maybe I may not be able to give an example. So I'm thinking about like when we talk about like in the context of raising a child, right? On one aspect we say we talk about this is our duty, our dharma, and then on the second aspect we talk about surrendering action. So if I say at some point we know our child is going to do what he or she wants to do. So I guess I'm sort of struggling is like at what point do you say you surrender versus you keep, saying it is your duty to coach your child or educate your child or, sort of help her follow those certain paths. Like maybe I can't think of a good example, but say like, okay, when a child is young, we sort of coach her or we say, okay, this is how you dress up and this is, these are the, we coach her every step of the way to the point where you get her out of school. Then as a child grows older, they want to do things their way. And at some point they're going to start doing things their way. It's like, for me in my mind, it's like, when do you say it is your duty, you have to continue pushing that on the child versus, surrendering and let it be. I can't think of a good example.
Yeah. Our Shastra says till about 15. After that, better luck next time. Nothing will work.
It's so true though. Like I don't think you know it per se. They tell you.
Yeah.
Did they reach a point where you're just like, that engagement is very different. Like, it's very hard to like feed it into them. You're kind of like, okay, we'll have a conversation.
I think there was an example 2 weeks ago that you shared, like, in the morning, it's like that morning rush. Oh, do this, do this, do this, you have to do this. And at some point, everything is like, you're running late. I think you shared an example. At some point, I think you mentioned let it go. Versus till the end, you're like, you're trying to make things happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think.
Yeah. So our Shastra says till about 15, the parent has to discipline the child, be there for the child, make sure that they walk on the right path. After that, it becomes difficult because they become very strong-minded after that. But everybody has to see in their household,
Even that age of 15 would be in certain aspects of life.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
Yeah. And like Gaurav said, they'll tell you. They'll say, okay, now you have to back off. They will say it. Because everybody here said it to their parents in some way or the other, right? You said it to your parents in one way or the other.
So is that a sign to say, okay, now it's time for me to surrender?
Yeah. If they say, okay, we know what we're doing, then it's time. It's time.
As a parent, I'll just add, I think the surrender part is the ego aspect of that you won't be able to control the exact outcome. I don't think that means that you surrender the conversation. I mean, I think as a human, you can still have a conversation and guide them. It's just that you have to sort of let go of the fact that you will be able to drive the result. The result is going to be driven by that.
Yeah. It's still hard for me to absorb this whole thing because
Don't
you're
worry.
Yeah.
surrendering the action itself, right? That's the part that.
So now more of this, there will be a discussion in 2 weeks. Next week we won't have class. Week after we will have there will be a discussion here about all of these things. Okay? All right. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.